Tobias with Can We Talk for Real? Oh man, this is a phenomenal segment that we have here. I have one of my business colleagues, one of my sisters, one of my big sisters in the business, my business partner. Yes, listen, she teaches me so much when I'm on the road, especially when I was doing insurance, like for real, for real. I would talk to her like on a consistent basis. You remember? Yes. Exactly. And so one of the things, y'all know I like to keep it real, but Can We Talk for Real, right? It's not always about relationships and life and all those beautiful things, but sometimes we have got to be practical in what we're doing. So I have teamed up with Miss Armeater Boatwright. And the beautiful thing about it is that she has agreed to sit down with us and just talk to the family about life insurance. And we're just going to have some agent conversation. So we are bringing y'all into our conversations, what we have, especially when we're traveling up and down that highway, when we're trying to help and service these families. So listen, sis, thank you so much for coming on.
Pleasure. It's my pleasure.
I appreciate it. Yes.
Yes. I am blessed that you would even think of me. I really am.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. But you know what? Let me just start off talking about a couple of these instances. Girl, use your words, son.
You use them well.
Some of the things that we have experienced when we have been on the road, and what really hit home for me is when I was traveling, and you know how they always say when you have an appointment might be missed, and you always make sure that you have people in the area that you can go talk to that inquired about insurance. Like, we don't do that cold door knocking, but people that inquired about insurance. And I remember going to, actually it's a couple, but one of the ones that really hit home for me was, and we're talking about life insurance, you all, and we're going to do a series on life insurance. When I went to this gentleman's house I've been trying to get in contact with.
Right.
And I just happened to see someone outside. So I knocked on the door, and it was the son that answered the door, and he just looked bewildered when I say, hey, I'm with life insurance. Right. I told him who I was. And the mother came to the door, and she had tears in her eyes. And she said that her husband had just died like 3 weeks ago, and he didn't have insurance. But he was trying to get insurance, and the reason why he never took my phone call was because he was in the hospital. But the thing about it is, what's sad to say, even if I was able to get him insurance, because he was already terminally ill.
Wow. Yes.
And I believe a lot of times that people don't take life insurance so serious.
Yeah.
And I know that you have been in the business a lot longer than I have. Wow. And so that's...
You're absolutely right. I mean, we have some stories that we could really tell. Yeah. And first of all, I'm just so very proud of you and your podcast. And I am so honored to be a part of it. We have had some long discussions about the things that are requiring not only for ourselves, but for our community.
Yeah.
And it's odd that we talk about this now, but it's been around since 1810 with African Americans in Pennsylvania. They actually had a company in 1810, that was available to pool all your resources together if something happens to a widower, or if something happens to your father, your mother, in terms of disability or their life. Yeah. And we just did not know all of the programs that were available to them because we weren't privy to that information.
Right.
So it is a beautiful thing now that I think it is on the upswing. I mean, I see a different attitude about insurance now. And I'm loving it in our community because in the 1940s and 30s, 40s, and 50s, a lot of us were very, very much insured. We just didn't have the adequate insurance.
Right. And what I know, like, especially like when my grandmother and her mother time, they were called the penny salesman, I think.
Yes.
Where they would go to the door and they would collect, they would like, whoever the insurance guy is, give me my change so I can go get insurance. And unfortunately, what I find, and tell me if I'm wrong, today is that it still goes on in a sense, but it's more underhanded.
Yes.
Yes. And an example of that is just last year, early part of last year, and a gentleman thought that he had $30,000 in life insurance.
I've been there. Yes.
And he was paying about $40 a month. And I was just like, based on and he was in his 70s. And I was just like, if you don't mind, because it's important, especially as agents and as consumers, that we allow skilled agents to look at our policies.
Absolutely.
To make sure that we have what we say we have.
Absolutely.
And he thought that he had
adequate coverage.
Exactly. And it was, and I explained, I said, it doesn't sound right, but if you will allow me to look. And so what I did was, I didn't want him to think I was trying to get over, because, sometimes insurance agents get a bad name or a bad rep. And so I try to make sure that we're always honoring and walking in integrity. So what I did because of that, I said, let's call your insurance agent. Let's call your insurance company. And he only had $2,700 of insurance.
Well, I mean, you know how many events I normally do.
Yes.
And just from the events, you would be very, very surprised of people just like him who think that they have, possibly they do have insurance. They've gotten it from online or from a newspaper or wherever, and they have accidental insurance. I mean, in the events that I went to, majority African-American events, either they got them from their bank or they got it from some person coming in telling them they got $70,000 or $80,000 worth of coverage. They're 70 years old and they're only paying $30, $50 or something like that, and they will fight you.
They will. Yes, they will.
And tell you.
Yes, they will.
They have, and the best thing to do is to review their policy with them and contact the client. I mean, the company, and ask them. And that's the only time. And a majority of the people that I talked to, unfortunately, didn't even drive. So if they had to be in a car accident for that benefit to pay them.
Right.
And it's unfortunate some of them have had it for years.
Yeah.
And now their health has changed and they're older. And now it's very difficult for them to get insurance. Okay. So I know exactly what you're saying. And it's funny that it happens a lot in our community.
Yeah.
So like you said, there's a lot of still underhanded things. That's why it's important to be a part of I'm a part of an organization called SOBA, Society of Black Agents. And those agents are invited to be in that organization. And in terms of being in that organization, you have to have some integrity.
Yeah.
You have to be mission oriented, and you have to be a person who really cares about our community, because we do a lot of initiatives out there. So we try to join other African-American organizations. And that doesn't mean that we don't have a lot of patrons that are not African-American. We do. But, I'm looking out for everybody. I want everybody to be covered. But I certainly want to make sure that we get the education to our community.
Exactly. And I remember when I did go to the event with you, that you invited me to an event, and it's really sparked me with our seniors. I really have a heart for our seniors and to want to make sure that they have adequate coverage, and they're not taken advantage of, and definitely within their budget, but to make sure that not only do they have coverage, but their family know that they have coverage.
That is very important.
Because this insurance should not be a secret.
No.
someone or somebody's need to know when a loved one is getting life insurance.
Very good observation. I can tell you a story of a friend of mine. Unfortunately, her mother had paid up policies. And when I mention paid up policies, that means for 10 or 15 years, you pay a large amount to pay it up so you don't have to pay it for the rest of your life. And so she had several of those policies. And unfortunately, she transitioned in a fire. And all the information about those paid up policies were destroyed. But they don't have a clue who the agent was or who gave her those policies, but they did find some policies that were active because I told them to look on her bank statements.
Okay.
And that's how they were able to be able to get that information. There's $32 billion worth of unclaimed policies out there, that unclaimed monies that folks just have no clue that their mom, dad, sister, brother, aunt, or uncle had insurance and who to get in contact. That's why it's important for our community to bond with agents, credible agents who are looking out for your benefit and your. I meet all of my clients. I meet all of their family.
Yes.
So I am their family.
Our family.
You know,
I am family.
Believe me, they call me not only about insurance, they call me about a lot of other things.
That's right.
I
have some clients that because when you go in and we're sitting, because I always listen. Once I sit at the table, we're family. Because I don't invite just anybody to my table. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And I enjoy when I get a client to call me, hey, Tanya, especially when COVID-19 started. Hey, are you being safe? Are you okay? And I'm just like, wow, and I, so some of my more experienced colleagues or, that's been in the industry longer, they say that this type of things happen. But when it actually happened to me, I was just like, wow, because, I'm always checking on my clients. But for them to return the love back, it's amazing. It is, and especially like when we go into the home, my goal is to make sure that family is protected.
Yes.
It's not always about, for me, the large policies. I want to get this big commission. It's not about that. It's about if this husband were to die today, is the wife and the babies are going to be okay? Or if the wife dies, the husband and the baby's going to be okay? Or the single parents,
right?
Are their children going to be okay?
Absolutely.
And also with that, it's important that that parents get policy, and grandparents get policies on their children and their grandchildren.
Absolutely.
Because it's a whole life policy at the rate that they are at the age they are now.
Right.
So if they're 40 years old and someone got a policy on them when they're 5, they're still paying that rate as if they were 5.
Exactly. And that's that's the beauty of it. I mean, we know that whole life sometimes is, all the time, majority of the time, it's expensive because it has a cash value. But you're right. We have to learn. I mean, I used to be the same way about that. But we're not going to get out of here alive. We're not. We're just not. And it's not even dead, people. When you look at what we're doing, I look at it, I really look at it as a mission. It's about transitioning. We transition from being a child to a teenager to an adult. That's the way the world is. It's just a law. It's a principle. And until we look at that differently, I want to make sure that our children and their grandchildren are taken care of. And we just have to have a mind shift.
Right.
On everything that we do, everything. I don't look at it and say, oh, there's so many Black people out here that's not. No, there's a lot of Black people that are insured.
There are. That's right.
And these people that mindset will carry on, and when I go into somebody's house and after I'm finished, they fed me and everything else, and then they pray for me. I didn't say, that I wanted to be an agent when I was growing up. Oh, I wanted to be an insurance agent. Wow, But just the fact that I evolved into this,
Yeah.
you know, is an incredible thing. The people who you meet, and you meet a vast array of people.
Mm-hmm.
It's and people that really, really care about other people. And just like we do, like you said, when you go into it, it's not sales, sales, sales.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
All of that's going to come.
It's going to come. And it's not about sales. It's about the people.
Yes.
And I believe the people I come in contact with understand that it's about them.
Mm-hmm. They do.
You know, and because sometimes you got to put the paperwork to the side and you have to talk to them about whatever. And I remember, you know, one older lady. Oh my! There's so many stories I have.
I know, me too.
But it's a couple that stands out to me. Do you remember when I went to Augusta and I was telling you about an older lady? I went in to help her with her policy. I was doing a policy review actually. Okay. And she did have insurance, and she had adequate insurance, so she was actually fine. Right. But I was saddened because her arm, something was wrong with her arm, and she couldn't lift the bowl in the cabinet. So she asked me, and she said she had someone come in, but they put the bowl too high. But I was kind of looking at the conditions of the home, you know, and I was just like, God, if I would put her in a different home, right? It's those things that touch me. It's those things that say, you know what? It's not always about the commission. Exactly. It's about the person that I'm talking to, you know. And then another senior, she needed help just trying to budget and figure out her bills. So I sat there with her, you know, and I said, let's go ahead and go through the bills. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm glad she's my last one, you know, but I was there probably about 3 hours with her, just to help her organize. So it's not about, like we said earlier, it's about when we walk into those homes and we're sitting at the table, we're saying, hey, I'm family. I care about you. Absolutely. You know, and it's important that they know. It's important that even as agents, you know, because there's so much happening these days, you know. Absolutely. Thankfully, I have not had a horrible experience, you know, out there. But it's important that as we go into these homes, you know, we become family, and we become. The beauty of it is, it's going to continuously allow you to evolve as a person. You know, because you become a resource person. I know more about durable medical equipment. I know more about care management organizations. I know that I was calling you. Exactly. I know more about those things. I know more about Christmas parties with seniors and camps, and you just become. You want to. You know, they ask you a question, and a lot of times. You may have the answer from just being in that environment. You evolve to another person. I mean, it's like, it's amazing just to look back on some of the stuff. I was talking to a friend the other day. You look back on how you evolve from just being an insurance, you know, not just being. I know what you're saying, right? I don't even consider myself an insurance agent. I consider myself as an advocate. Right. You know, I really do. And I call myself a community consultant. Exactly. I mean, and the beauty of it is we have so much fun with this stuff. Yeah. People get insurance, you know, it's not about that. It's about living. Yeah. It's about living. And it's a token of love for your mother or your sister so that you don't have to worry. I've been down that route. You know, and it wasn't because my mother didn't have insurance. It was because there's a lot of little things, and that's what make you motivated to learn more about insurance. My mother, when my father made his transition, my mother had him as a beneficiary. Well, when she made her transition, I knew I had gotten her for burials and stuff like that. It was like, what do you call those places you put your parents in? Vault. The vault. Yeah, I had paid for that already, so I thought everything was okay. But there's other
cost. You got it. You're talking about limousine. You're talking about all kinds
the
of other
shebang.
stuff. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I couldn't get access to that money because my father's name was the beneficiary. So it took about 2 months for them first to verify who I was. Not only verify who I was, verify that my father was dead or deceased, verify all of this information. It took about 2 months. Now, my mother has been working all of her life. And she's been one of those people who paid her insurance, you know. But these are things that motivated me to learn more about it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you have to have some type, you know, a plan or let someone know. And I didn't know her agent. Or maybe her agent, you know, made his transition.
Right. Or moved on.
Exactly. And the only way I knew about it is because I saw a check years ago about where she was paying. But if I had not known, I would not even have known about that insurance. We just don't ask.
We don't ask because we don't, especially when it comes to our parents.
Right. You don't want to talk about that.
Because in our mind, oh, you're not going anywhere. You're going to live
be here. Exactly.
Right. And so we don't want to think about those things, but it's necessary for us to think about it, and it's responsible for us to think about it and how and have those conversations. Okay, if and when you were to die today, where's your insurance policy?
Absolutely.
You know, I went through my mother's, I went to my brother's, I know where's where's the insurance policies, because I need to understand where am I gonna exactly and what do you want?
Exactly.
And we gotta have those conversations. It's not comfortable, but it's necessary to have those conversations. And so
and the other thing is, you know, they weren't selling us living insurances. You know, we have to make sure that our insurance has some type of living insurance or rider. We'll talk about that later, because my mother had paralysis on the left side from a massive stroke. But if I would have had an insurance policy, maybe 100,000 or even, let's say even 30,000.
Right.
I could have accessed some of that money to take care of it.
Exactly.
Do you know what type of relief that is? To know that you can have some living benefits and disability. I mean, when something happens to you, you're disabled, all of these things. There are insurance to protect you and your family.
And your family. That's right.
That's the biggest, I mean, to me, that's you're gifting your family. Right.
And I believe throughout the years, and just kind of my own research, insurance has evolved.
Yes.
You know, it's not just when you, like you said, when you die, but it does have that living benefit.
Yes.
You know, if you were to have a heart attack or stroke or even cancer, you know, that you're able to access a percentage of that whole life policy, has to be a whole life policy, to be able to say, hey, I need this because I can't, you know, can't bathe myself. I can't feed myself. I can't clothe myself. You know, some of those things that your everyday living activities that you're not able to do because of this particular ailment. And so the insurance, there's so much I want to say when it comes to insurance. So listen, you all, this was a conversation, and listen, this is a conversation that me and my big sister Armeater have all the time when we're talking about insurance and the importance of insurance. We are going to come back on next week, and there's a couple of topics I do want us to go over. We're going to talk about term insurance. We're going to talk about whole life. Matter of fact, I did talk to David Thompson.
Absolutely.
And he's going to grace us.
Our mentor.
You know, and we're going to talk about some annuities, you know, and we're just going to get into it, you know, because here's the thing. When we talk about Can We Talk For Real, it goes, like I said, it goes beyond just the quote unquote everyday talk of the mill talk show type thing. But I want you all to be educated and to have I want you to have the wealth of knowledge. You know, what I know, I want you to know.
Absolutely.
You know, to be able to take care of your families. And insurance is necessary. If something were to happen to you, if you were to die today, How would your family survive, especially if you are the primary breadwinner in the family? Listen, guys.
Can I say one thing?
Yes.
And guys, I don't know if you can see that pretty clear, but GoFundMe is not an insurance policy. Please.
Say it again.
GoFundMe is not an insurance policy.
That's
okay? Right. So please get yourself and your family. And you insure your cars in your house. Insure yourself.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. Insure yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And get them babies insured too.
Absolutely.
You know, but y'all already know. Love you enough to be good to you. Let's live on purpose. Let's live on purpose, and let's live with a purpose. This is your girl Tobias with Can We Talk for Real. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yes.
I do.
Hey.
Okay. Just as smooth as possible. I love it.